Pants. Yes, bit heavy breathing here today, but the show must go on. So, this is your weekly edition of Metaworld News, bringing you the highlights for the week ending the 23rd. Oh, yes, I've forgotten it already. 23rd of August. In the grand old year 2020, that year that will never be forgotten, I'm quite sure.
Yeah.
At least we won't get that one wrong, I hope. Right. Okay. So this is where we bring you news about immersive virtual spaces and also, a bit about VR technology, haptic interfacing with computers and stuff, be it virtual reality or just the add-ons to a 2D screen. Um, and well, there's one particular thing that is going to be in the news this week to do with that haptical technology things. But I will get to it when I get to it. Right.
Hmm.
Now, my name is Mal Burns. Right. That's Mal and then Burns. But according to Twitter, I'm squashed. Yes. Twitter.com/, sorry, twitter.com/, Malburns, Malburns. Yes, presented as all one word. And we also have twitter.com/Metaworld News, named after the show, but with more including stuff to do with virtual worlds and things rather than the general landscape of immersion. Right. So, as I say, I'm Mal Burns, and I'm joined by James Atloud. Welcome, James.
Oh, thank you, Mel. I'm always happy to be here. Uh,
James, of course.
I was just going to say, enjoying our fun new set.
Yes, indeed. We had this sort of curtain at the other end of the set here, as a sort of pre-installed thing, and I took rather a liking to it. And I said, "Oh, well, maybe we should move ourselves over there." And instead, I come on today, and James has very kindly erected it all behind me, plus a new desk. So, yeah, cool stuff. Anyway, behind the scenes, James is twiddling knobs as usual, which means he's basically putting all the video together. So what you see live on YouTube or even in replay, which is what most of you do, um, you know, multiple camera shots, and the fact he's also broadcasting my desktop when required. So you too can see the web pages I'm talking about in the links. But if you miss anything, you will find it at twitter.com/malbones. You'll find the news item plus a direct click that would take you to the actual web page as opposed to the site. Okay, well that's all very good. Now the other thing, James, I'm most impressed today, is here in Sansar. There's an event going on called the Roddenberry something or other. I quite forget it. Vaguely, it's after Roddenberry created Star Trek, but it's basically a build where everything is missing and they've scattered all the parts around the entire Sansar um, experiences. So you actually have to go and travel everywhere to hunt down all these bits and pieces that have actually got lost. So it's the sort of lost rotten, oh god, tongue twister here. Anyway, it's a quest that's going on, but I was most impressed by James's t-shirt too. Got a nicely sort of textured t-shirt and a nice little Star Trekky kind of logo on it too. So.
Yeah, well, thanks, Mel. I just trying to change up my appearance once a week if I'm able, if I'm up to do it.
Mm. Is also, dare I say it, unlike me, it's actually a very nice contrast with the new background.
Ah, right, right.
I mean, it's high contrast with the new background, but it's delicate enough and agreeable enough, and everything else.
Oh, well, thanks.
Anyway, so all is new here on that front, so to speak. Now I've forgotten what I'm doing. Oh yes. Well, before I go to the first link, James can actually share my screen. I simply have a graphic up for the Open Sim Festival 2020. Many worlds, one community. This is basically a community on the hypergrid as a rule, where many worlds on the hypergrid. And this will be happening next weekend. So I thought I'd lead with it today, even though it's immersive spaces really. Basically, a lot of performers and merchandise people and users, of course, of OpenSim all get together next weekend for this festival. I do have a display stand there, I do believe, but I don't know whether it's still the one that was there last year, which
All
hopefully
right,
it is,
right.
or whether it's an empty space. Um, so I shall probably pop in next Saturday or something like that, if any of you are around. Now, the only thing I can't tell you immediately because this graphic is very informatively left off the login, Yuri. If you're going to have a poster advertising something, it's a very good idea to tell people where to go, but they haven't they haven't done it. So hopefully I'll better get that to you a little bit near the end of the show, where we pop into Metaworld News' feed as well. In the meantime, right, we'll move to the actual um, events of the week, so to speak. And we start on Monday, as we ever do, with scarredghost.com. Um, where's it gone? As usual, I've lost it. Here we are. SKARREDGHOST.com. And it's the roundup of the week, just as there'll be another one tomorrow. Now, the top news of the week was actually about Facebook Horizon. Facebook Horizon is one of Facebook's virtual worldy attempts, and they revealed their avatars, and also the layoff, which I featured last week, of Mozilla dismantling some of its XR team, although Hubs isn't actually affected. But as usual, it's Scargo's roundup of the week. New Oculus Venues gives us a glimpse of Facebook Horizon. So they have Venues and Horizon at the moment, and the rumor is they will sort of merge the two. Um, right. Unfortunately, this predates some other news about Facebook that has incensed the planet during the week. Um, so we will come to that. We will come to that shortly. So the Facebook mentions here are really just updates on technology and stuff that they're working on. A bit about Sony, Nvidia, Sandbox VR is shut down. Nreal launches light glasses in Korea. Those look rather interesting, actually, but they're not on illustrated here. Um, Problems with stereo use from partners, etc. But well, you get the idea. Basically, this is a weekly roundup. There will no doubt be another one tomorrow. There always is on a Monday, as a rule. So this really was the one that we started the week on here. So as I say, Scarred Ghost, and the scar is with a K. .com. So moving on from that, start getting the tabs closed. Now we're at Forbes, and again, this is Charlie Fink's roundup at the beginning of the week at Forbes as well. Um, the week in XR. The Epic Apple lawsuit. This is Apple Computer versus Epic Games, basically, and well, not easy to summarize. They've definitely gone to war there too. Everybody's going to war, basically. Varjo VR Series C and the US Navy picking virtual platform, all of which I think we included in this week. Um, last week. There might be a few things we didn't. Anyway, you'll find that at Forbes this week in XR, Charlie Fink's roundup. And that one there is dated August the 14th, which was, of course, Monday. I think it was. Hope it was. Otherwise, I'm wrong, but never mind. Okay, now New World Notes here is a blog by Hamlet Orr, and this he normally in traditionally blogs about Second Life, but he's really opened up the blog to a lot more things like science space and high fidelities and stuff of recent. But he was one of the first on Wednesday. He didn't actually break the news, so I don't know why it's first on my list. But I mean, it all hell broke loose at once. Any favourable blogs about Facebook that were on Monday and Tuesdays rapidly disappear with the news on Wednesday. Robert Scoble immediately got hold of Hamlador and offered to write the guest post and describing it as Facebook identifying on VR is the biggest strategy tax of all time. Um, Good post by Robert, it always is. All his posts are good. Um, he looks at quite a few aspects of what's happened. Why does Facebook need to tie users to real Facebook identities? One reason he reckons is the pricing war with Apple, and two is a war again, war over social functionality that will come very soon. Um, and both of those are also about XR glasses, so dig into each. So he does a summary here. He starts with the Apple price war coming. Um, it's Apple has a huge advantage over everybody, including Microsoft, Facebook, Magic Leap, and others. And it's the phone. Basically, they can split functionality between glasses, the phone, the watch, everything else. And nobody else has that ecosystem that they can link things together. So in a way, everybody wants to do something. It's technically a war with Apple, unless you want to do it for Apple. He adds up the cost of your iPhone, your Apple Watch, your Apple glasses, and everything else you would need to subscribe to the ecosystem, and it does actually come that. A very high price indeed, especially as the Apple glasses will almost certainly um, be at least $500, maybe $1,500. So, and if they wonder if a new phone, a new iPhone, might be required to actually run them. So they're grabbing the money and everything else, which is what Apple have become a company that does that now. But at least Apple's just selling product and elitism and various other things, and it does fall over itself to sort of keep user confidentiality and privacy sort of things in place. This is not Facebook's game at all. They don't give a damn about privacy or anything like that. It's Apple is perceived as a safer, far more privacy focused, more luxury and service focused brand, and rightfully so, says Robert. Um, He then goes on to find that Facebook will not be able to sell for the same price as Apple, but since it must price its products a bit cheaper and etc. Anyway, moving on down here, the next area is sort of functionality. Um, the implication here is everybody is on Facebook, even though there's plenty of other things around. Facebook can usually allow other things in other words, you can send your tweets into Facebook, but you can't easily. But everything Facebook do is designed to keep the user inside Facebook. And even if you think you've left Facebook, you've often still there. You're in an iframe, which is put the rest of the web in an iframe, all hosted by Facebook, which is monitoring exactly where you go within the iframe. It's more complicated than that. It's not even iframes. Sometimes it's in the style sheets and everything else, but it's insidious and largely under the surface. Um, this week we also found out that WhatsApp and it's Instagram and Messenger are the first ones to merge, and presumably WhatsApp later on. The ultimate. This will be your Facebook communicator, and also their Horizons project and Venues project, which are both virtual spaces, will probably merge. And guess what? The only way you'll be able to see these things is through an Oculus headset. And to make things worse, to use the Oculus headset, full circle, you will have to log in with a Facebook account. Now, it is true that if I pick up an iPhone and want any actual use out of it or an iPad, I do really need to be logged into Apple's iCloud with my account. I don't have to be, by the way. There are plenty of apps that will work without it, but because for communication purposes, messages, FaceTimes, and all that stuff, you really need to be logged into their cloud, and also they provide storage there too. But it is all optional. There's nothing optional about what Facebook are planning, basically. Um, Now we will go on. Uh, I'm going to keep this tab open. Site you want to go to actually read this, and how come it's not in position? Oh Lord, I think I've loaded this in the wrong order. Um, oh Lord, Lord, Lord. Okay, well this actually I know this by heart. It's nwn.blogs.com. Yeah, NWN stands for New World Notes. So the fact that I can't find it is no real problem in this particular case. Okay, right, let's move into a few other things. I'm going to keep that tab open. I'm going to move into right, third international conference on artificial intelligence and virtuality happening in December 14th to 18th. Like everything else this year, it's all totally online. Call for demos, video presentations is underway, and you can find all about it and submission guidelines and everything else on this site. And this site is, he says, where is it? Where's it gone? Oh God, I don't believe this. This one's got lost too. And this one's certainly one I don't know by heart. Okay, I'm going to leave that open. I'm gonna follow my sidebar list as best I can, so that I do actually have the links to give you as we get to various places. Right. Okay. Um, I'm sorry. Right. Okay, August the 19th. This is very recent. This is at vrscout.com again. Um, I've gone out of order here, but this has a summary of the lawsuit against between Epic Games and Apple. It's about the charging for apps through the App Store, particularly Apple's greed with their commissions and everything else. And you know, uh, Epic, Apple removed Fortnite from the App Store, and as of Friday, Apple terminates all developer accounts and cuts Epic off from iOS. Um, since then, it's not included in this article. Epic has retaliated. They did something else. I can't forget. I'll have to wait for. I'll have to wait for the post before I can tell you what it was. Too much brown stuff flying here, really. Um, Anyway, this is vrscout.com. So it's vrscout.com, and this was August the 19th. Um, I'm trying to get back on course here, but it's not happening. Uh, I think I loaded the links today in the wrong order by mistake, so they're not tallying with the list at the side here. Okay, let's. Okay, organics.org. This is easy enough to remember. AUGANIX.org. It's at the top of the screen there. Basically, advance notice about the SIGGRAPH conference. It's immersive programming and several virtual reality experiences. Obviously, like everything else this year, it's a major annual conference showcasing the latest in computer graphics and interactive techniques. Um, the annual conference basically kicked off this week, and it's all being held virtually. During the conference, we haven't got any news on this yet, but Magic Leap are releasing their Lost Light experience, which is being um, very well acclaimed. Though certainly, how many people will ever be able to see it, I don't know. Um, VR theatre and all the rest of it. I'm actually made a bit of a mistake here. I didn't realize that I thought it was next week, but actually it started on August the 19th. So, or was it even 18th? So it's already underway. Whether it's actually open or continues into next week, I'm not quite sure. Um, Nice feature there about Deep View, the immersive light business. Um, anyway, to find out this, just go to organics.org, EUGANIX dot org, and pick up that news there. Ah, right, right, right. No, I don't want to be spammed. Thank you. Okay, this is AR Post. Have I got this one in the right place yet? No, I haven't. Of course, I haven't. Um, okay, I'm sorry, folks. I'm in a complete poodle hoop here because I can't find the links to read out to you, even though I got the things here. Okay, this is AR Post, and let me just have a quick look. Uh, no, it's not easy to do. Okay. Okay, well, the news on this one anyway, Seradi, whoever they are, have teamed up with Amaze VR for a full virtual reality concert. Um, R&B sister duo Karadi, okay, that's who they are, partnered with Amaze VR for a concert this fall, obviously to escape COVID and stuff. And the article goes on to talk about virtual reality reshaping live music. And there you see the girls concerned against the green screen, which is basically how they do it all. It's nothing much more than the green screen performance, really. And this will be in, I believe, the Wave VR. They're working with Felix Paul Studios, so that's quite a big, it's quite a big studio. Um, right, okay. I'm not a happy man here because I can't find my links. So, right, we did that. Right, here's another one on music. This time, no, well, it's a magazine called Flaunt. Nothing like flaunting the news. Come on, where is it? I should be able to find flaunt easy enough. This is all to do with the way I load the tabs, and I've messed up seriously this week.
Hmm.
Because I can't see the URL to tell you where to go. But as I say, you will if you go to twitter.com, Mal Burns, you will find the actual links to all these articles. Um, this is from Flaunt Magazine, which is probably something like flaunt.com. But Red Pill VR are ready to take over the music sphere. So yet another operation starting up to with the idea of doing virtual concerts and stuff to counteract the COVID isolation. And basically, this is an interview about the Red Pill VR company. Um, they define the metaverse as a virtual reality space in which users can interact with a computer generated environment and other users. So they're not far from it there, basically, but their interest um, is music. And it's funny the way they say this. All you would need is a VR mask.
Mm.
Now, I think they are referring to a headset.
Right, right,
Would it was as simple as a mask.
right, right. We wish.
um, Of course, with COVID, it seems a very long road for concerts and festivals to resume. Thankfully, Red Pill arrives in the nick of time. All you need is a VR mask, and you can literally create your own virtual rave, inviting old and new friends to dance, chat, socialize, and hang out as if it was real life. 6 years in the making, the company prides itself on being a platform for everyone to enjoy an experience, not just big name artists and DJs. Whoever has a passion for music will have the ability to have an audience and show shows of their own. Rather sounds like the main picture. It sounds like here where we're broadcasting from these days. Anyway, this is actually an interview with the guys at Red Pill VR. So first question, how did it get started, and etc. 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 So you got not long, but fair old interview there.
Words.
So as I say, this is Flaunt Oh, I'm in the right place. Sorry. Okay, yes, it's flaunt.com. flaunt.com. And, well, it's actually / content / red pill. But I'm sure you'll find it by going to flaunt.com's front page. So I can close that one. We're happy again now.
All right.
And, right, we were here a little while ago and I couldn't see the link, but it is nwn.blogs.com. And yeah, I'm going to leave that open for one reason or another too. Now, Road to VR. This is a familiar site for us. Road to VR, ROADTOVR.com. And title of the article midweek: Emergencies VR crowd simulator that makes you question life, society, and everything. Well, I don't know whether I need a VR crowd simulator to do that, but maybe it helps. I certainly wouldn't have wanted to debate the issue with that many avatars.
No.
That sounds like a conversation killer. Do you really want crowds that big? Anyway, this is actually a standalone thing. It debuted at 2019 Sundance, and it's a short VR experience from an indie studio, Universal Everything, which uses a unique crowd simulation, raising some interesting questions about life, society, and how we connect to it all. You can actually download the experience for yourself for free via the Steam service. So, more information about that, i.e., the whole blog, there at roadsvr.com, and a short little video of it as well, which I'm not going to play because it gets in the way of everything, doesn't it? Right, right, let's get rid of that. The less tabs I've actually got open, the more easier it will be to maneuver them and find out the addresses. Right, okay, this is Ars Technica. And sure, here it is. I just got to head up instead of down. Right. Why the Facebookening? That's an interesting name for Facebookening of Oculus VR is bad for users, devs, and competition. Opinion: no device should require Facebook login. So what is Oculus doing? Now, it's very interesting that he's hardly person of the month, but there's a chap called Lucky Palmer who literally invented the Oculus, and it was his device, and he sold it to Facebook some years ago now, and he was CEO for a while, but then he left, and he's a bit of a person non grata because of his political views, which are probably even more right wing than the Zuckerberger, but he did point out, with all this news coming out, that when he sold Oculus to Facebook, there was an explicit promise that they would not require users to log in with Facebook to use the device. So we got another little twist in the story. Whether Lucky Palmer has enough power left to actually stop Facebook's plans based on the fact that they're in breach of the contract they signed when he sold it to them, including an explicit promise not to do what they're actually about to do, we don't know. We will have to see how that goes. But it is rather interesting sort of sideline here. Right, so I'm going to quote this one. On Tuesday, Facebook found another way to aggravate millions of users. Another way. Though this time the outrage came from its virtuality department. The company announced it would soon mandate the use of Facebook accounts within its Oculus system, all in order to unlock social features, apparently. In Facebook's ideal world, you'll be your Facebook self on the Facebook VR system instead of using its separate Oculus ID. What's the big deal, you may ask? And of course, they're then going to try. Pointing out the Facebookening process is not actually new. It's just that this one is more extreme by a large measure. Facebook's decision is getting fierce scrutiny right now before it explodes like a virus outside the niche that is virtual reality. Basically, the world outside of virtuality hasn't woken up to this yet, and they probably won't wake up until it's already implemented and advertised as a new Facebook dancing beast, basically. Okay, so much more to read here at Ars Technica. And did I give you the? Yeah, well, it's arstechnica.com, and it's in the section for gaming. So there's a / gaming will get you closer to that than the front page, I imagine. Um, they've gone into quite a lot here. This is also kind of relates to various. I mean, something like Second Life, for example, is not a 3D world that can be used in virtual reality headsets. Its architecture is, 15 older, more than 15 years old. It just can't work that way. But Facebook have a real name policy, which has really upset a whole load of Second Life people all years ago, really, because they'd registered with Facebook originally using their non de plume, I would call it. In other words, their Second Life avatar. And Facebook suddenly decided that anybody with an avatar picture or with an obvious avatar name would be kicked out of Facebook because they were defrauding the public by not using their real name. Um, I noticed they've never really got to grips with this because I can tell you there are many science fiction authors, for example, on Facebook, and they have pen names, and they're on Facebook under their pen name, not their real name. But I guess the identity is real world enough for Facebook to give it a pass. But it's these very kind of things that will become a problem. For example, if Facebook Horizon or Facebook Ventures or whatever it's called, if you create an avatar and you want to be a character, not your real world self, it could be a problem because Facebook don't allow you to appear anywhere except as your real self. So you can forget, fictional avatars or gameplay avatars or whatever. Your avatar will be forever locked to your real world identity. And I don't know, maybe you'll be able to have a screen name that's got a fancy, like Charlie Thunderbird or something. But you bet your life, I mean, there'll be a track back to who you really are, etc., etc. And they need to know that because you'll have a wonderful animated 3D T-shirt with an advert on it that changes every 30 seconds. They need to know who you are so they can implement all those little pipes and stuff. Poor old James here, for example. You wouldn't be able to look at him. He'd be displaying Roddenberry Star Trekky stuff
Right,
in a
right.
constant rotation for hour after hour. And, they probably force him to wear shades so that you don't look in his eyes, but you watch his t-shirt.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not trying to dive into a rabbit hole here, but I mean, it is vitally important, I think, that we realize just how extensive the implications of this will be. If Facebook control the metaverse, which with their money and kit they could well do, especially if they convince the massive Facebook audience that this is the thing, it really is going to put paid to not only alternative products, except for little niche things, um, but the whole freedom. You'll be, you won't be logging into a virtual world to have fun. You'll be logging in to a seductive place that when you get in there will turn out to be a prison and you can't get out, or at least you can't get out without taking the linkage from Facebook with you. So I don't really, I'm not happy. Um, Also, Facebook sort of has problems with victims of harassment and abuse. This would obviously transfer to virtual society. Um, Even though they have a vested interest in establishing online virtual identities. Same goes for members of the LGBTQ community, for example. Um, um, 2014 protests over real name policy included pledges from Facebook to expand and clarify the rules, but they didn't. Basically, it's now 6 years later, and there's not really been any obvious change. Um, it also they quote Rec Room, which is another virtual world platform. Users may already have established an identity in the online game Rec Room, using an Oculus headset in order to play the games and socialize there, and especially as Rec Room crosses to PlayStation VR, HTC Vive, and other headsets. But enforcing the Facebook requirement will send ripples through established VR communities like Rec Room. Apparently, the all new people signing up with Oculus will be forced to log in with a Facebook account. Those who already have a separate account and have bypassed the Facebook account will have a period of grace, I gather, before they will be finally obliged to log in with a Facebook account because Facebook seems to have sussed that a few people don't actually have a Facebook account. I don't think there's many left in the world who don't, but I mean, there probably are a few. So, anyway, um, what happens if Facebook's history of user manipulation comes to VR? Emotional manipulation within VR operates on greater extremes than on a flat screen. If the horror gaming genre is any indication, so what kind of AVB testing might Facebook connected Oculus users expect? What if your actions in VR become attached to your real life identity for Facebook's shadow profile purposes? This is the profile they have of you that you don't see. Um, Facebook repeatedly assures users that they can expect a safe and protected VR experience, legal name and all. But regulators around the world have pushed back on how such a policy runs counter to protections like the GDPR. And anyway, well, there's masses for you to read here, and I'm not kind of read it all out for you, but there's very, very good analysis at this site here at Ars Technica. So arstechnica.com/gaming, or go to twitter.com Twitter.com that bloke, yeah, Mal Burns, and you
Sure,
will
that works.
find you will find the relevant links. Okay, okay. Yeah, we've done that already. Okay, so we also have three or maybe four editions of Voices of VR podcast, which we cover a lot. Back to form this week, as it were. Um, this is you're going to find all this, of course, at voicesofvr.com. That's voicesofvr.com. And we have show number 934, and this particular version that I've got up is 936. Somewhere in the middle, there'll be a 935 and 937. Well, we'll get to them. This is 936, indie dev Anton Hand on resisting the Facebook panopticon. Okay, some big words being brought up with this thing going on.
The eye that sees all.
Um,
That's
yeah,
Panopticon.
yeah, Anton Hand apparently has taken a lot of public positions against Facebook over the years, which has meant that a number of disgruntled developers have shared with him some of the more negative experiences with dealing with Facebook developer relations. It's a bit of an open secret within the VR development community that many people have had bad experiences with Facebook, and he shares some of his personal experiences and generalizes some anecdotes of what ends up in being a lot of one-way communication with the Zuckerberg empire, basically. Um, he goes on quite a bit about it there, but this is, of course, a podcast. So if you really want the stuff, then the reason I did that is to inform you that it lasts 1 hour 5 minutes, which I couldn't see until I started playing it. Okay, so you'll find that voices of VR.com. I'm going to skip across now to number 334. This one actually is of interest to a lot of old timers, really. For Voices VR podcast doesn't really cover Second Life very much, although they've, well, he has been around there for a long while. But he's had accessibility in virtual worlds. He's got an interview with Donna Davis from Second Life. Um, Donna Davis went with Tom Belsdorf. And they had a 3-year National Science Foundation grant for the role of people with disability. Drastic Dupree has done coverage of this and all sorts of stuff. Um, but they studied how different able populations were using virtual worlds like Second Life. Um, yes, and there's a bit of a plug for our digital selves. That was a Dragster profile on her, or on them, I should say. Davis and stuff. But this is particularly, this is actually an interview with Dawn Davis herself, and it's audio only, of course, but as we will see, it's 46 minutes long, this one. So, yeah. And there's a picture of her with one of her clients outside Second Life's offices. I don't know where that site. Yeah, no, I think it still looks the same. I don't know. Anyway, that's voicesofvr.com. Yes, again. And that show from the beginning of the week is number 934. Moving on again. I don't have 935. Maybe it was a boring one. But 937 I have up, posted August 22nd. So this is a bit, that's today, isn't it? No, no, not today. Well, no, today's Saturday. It
Yesterday.
must have been yesterday, yeah.
Yep.
So guess the subject of this one. Facebook's desire to own the metaverse conflicts with cultivating a developer ecosystem. Big screen VR's grievances. Big screen VR is um, an app that basically allows you to go to the cinema in your headset. And their CEO is one of many who is not at all happy about this. Particularly, they sell tickets to movies in virtual theatres. And content owners, copyright owners, have to get anywhere from between 60 to 80% of the ticket price. But part of Facebook's new deal is that they want another 30% fee for any commerce that uses the Oculus system. Now, it's not going to, if you add, say, 80% of the ticket price and then add 30% of the ticket price on top of that, it means for every ticket you sell, losing 10% of the ticket price. This does not sound to me. I'm not very good at business, but that really doesn't quite sound to me like a going model. I don't know about you, but it just doesn't quite click with me. Um, anyway, so Big Screen VR aren't very happy. Not only about Facebook's interference, but also the fact they want 30% on top of what they have to pay, TV and cinema screening rights anyway. Um, so as you can imagine, this particular podcast too, voicesofvr.com, is another one that not not pro fastball really. When I announced beta version of Big Screen VR in 2015, Facebook reached out. They told me to join them because they were going to build the same thing and then crush us. That's nice of them, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I have many stories like this. I can share a long list of VR devs who've been trampled by Facebook. Yeah. Okay, that's all Voices of VR for this week. But as you can see, right. I wish I could bring you this page without that picture on it. It is making me ill. Um, especially the religious overtones too. But I'm afraid this is Scarred Ghost again. Scarredghost.com. SKARREDGHOST.com. And it tells you all you need to know about developing and side loading. Apparently, side loading is a thing on Quest 2, which is going to be affected under the new Facebook account policy. And yeah, there he is, the Zuckerberger and bloke. And yeah, his goal 1 billion people in virtual reality. I think he's lying. He wants 20 billion people at least. Anyway, um, that's at OC4, whenever that was. That's what he said then. Um, okay, this particular blog has also, of course, got a highlight of the announcement there, the important changes, etc., which virtually everybody. I think it went out to people who aren't even in VR in any way, but they certainly got it pushed it out there, and Of course, developers, this is something that doesn't just affect users, it's affecting developers and everything else there. You'll be able to develop for Oculus Quest and sideload apps using these three possibilities: a Facebook account, a test user account, which of course will be a Facebook test user account, or an Oculus account if you already have one. But you remember to get a new one, this isn't a Facebook account. And yeah, it then goes on about the various details and differences between them and what a mess it will be. And all new devices and new accounts will require a Facebook account. So it's not something coming in the future. If you're just about to subscribe to the system, it's happening now. Right, okay, so that was Carl Ghost again. You always get long pieces from him, so well worth the read there. Now, here we are. This week in XR. Charlie, think again. I think this is a bit ahead of schedule, August the 21st. Um, obviously, we know the reason why. This week in XR, Hickory Dickory Dock, who will get TikTok? Funny that. Plus the Oculus Outrage Explained. I actually misread that as Oculus outage, and I thought it says
Oh,
it bloody right.
okay.
But I thought it's an outrage, not an outage. But maybe they'll have an outage too, and we can be even more outraged. Sort of thing. Yeah. Anyway, covering quite a bit in this blog. It's now another roundup one. He doesn't really in this particular blog tell you much more than we've already. I've given you links already to much greater detail. One thing included in this, and I don't think I've loaded my own link for this. Um, Alcove, Alcove, have launched or rather relaunched, and ironically on the Oculus Quest.
Hmm.
Bad timing this. So another one of these things that was announced before the uproar. From AARP Innovation Labs and Rendevers. Now, this is quite interesting. One of the blogs described it as it's originally for Oculus Go, by the way. Family experiences aimed at bringing together family members, older and younger, across distances, from meditation to world travel and shared photo memories. An antidote to social isolation, including classic games like chess and checkers and stuff within it. Now, most people said that compared with Second Life or a whole load of well, that's you can't get that in Oculus, but a whole load of other experiences, then this is a bit lame, really. But in fact, it was pointed out that this is just the kind of thing that, in its simplicity, might well attract people as a spatial equivalent of, I don't know, a Zoom call or
Hmm.
something amongst
Yep.
family members. Whether it still holds that attraction now, you will require a Facebook login, or maybe they'll shift it from Oculus to one of the other platforms. Who knows? But certainly an interesting relaunch, even if not the state of the art thing. And yeah, various other roundup in the news. Spaces are changing direction from video conferencing to, well, they're not really very clear actually, but all we know is they're changing direction. Also, of course, the Burning Man is coming online. It's in Alt Space VR. It's also in Somnium Space. It's all over the place. I think there's they being Burning Man, they've gone virtual, but they've made sure they've gone virtual in just 1,000 different places. So you're not gonna it's not like you're going to get a Burning Man in the virtual world by going to Alt Space
Right.
VR or
Right.
Somnium Space for that matter. The events will be taking all over the place in a variety of different virtual platforms.
Yep.
And
Including 2D video, Zoom, and things like that.
yes, indeed. And oddly enough, I haven't read anything about any events here in Sunspar on that thing, but it wouldn't surprise me if something pops up. There are certainly a few things in Second Life, but there always have been there because there's a it's said that Burning Man actually influenced the creation of Second Life by Philip, and there's always been a player in the desert in a region in Second Life, and once a year it's not at the same time as Burning Man, I hasten to add, but the second burn or whatever it was called tends to happen every year anyway. Um, so obviously they're set up to include stuff anyway. The exact date of all that I'm not entirely sure of. It must be getting very imminent now then. The day. Let's just have a quickie look at that. Right, this is Old Space VR's version. Somnium Space is probably a bit more realistic. Okay, well, the idea of this was hopefully to get brcvr.org. Okay, there we are. I was hoping to get a date out of that, but I didn't. So, anyway, that whole article at Forbes is Charlie Finks from 2021. That would have been Friday. Would have posted that one. Okay, moving on. And this is, yeah, scientists have invented a new sensing eye mask. Now, on the surface, this is nothing obvious to do with 3D or stuff like that. But we do, if whether it's our headsets or, if we need some, maybe if we need to give away our Oculuses, we can get a nice sensing eye mask instead. Um, this is burgeoning technology. Um, but it gives you some of the specs here. This isn't a product you can actually get yet, but it's a neurotech research basically. But these things could easily become essential parts of a kit that you might have in the future. For if you have your different types of helmets, and they use different things. But a sensing eye mask within one of the headsets might be a good thing. Apparently, this seeing eye mask can capture your pulse, your eye movements, and sleep signals, all done through the eye. And God forbid that the passport purchases this. Because as you could stay in the virtual world when you went to sleep, and the headset layer for this would monitor your sleep patterns and everything else. But seriously, I mean, just as we have masses of apps on our ever increasingly sophisticated watches and phones, of course, to monitor our health and stuff, um, it, this is one for the eyes. Uh, it's actually from the team that invented physiology sensing pajamas at the University of Massachusetts. It's a lightweight eye mask that can unobtrusively capture pulse, eye movement, and sleep signals, worn in an everyday environment, including under a headset, no doubt. Yep, anyway, so you will find this particular post at neurosciencenews.com. So that's neurosciencenews.com. And with that, it's a click away. Right. Okay. Another very serious thing about the wars. But this is a different war. At the moment, Facebook are not involved directly in this one. This is Epic's lawsuit against Apple. Apple basically started it by banning Epic from the App Store and everything else. And Epic have responded with a lawsuit against Apple, which, according to this, could well, I mean, this is the sort of thing that probably go on for a couple of decades anyway, but could threaten the future of VR, AR, TV, and films. In other words, the nature of the lawsuits and against Apple's monopoly and system could actually have ramifications for a whole load of things outside of that sphere. Um, Hang on, where are we? No, sorry, now I'm getting to the top. I've lost my way again, haven't we? No, there we are. Right. This post is, before I forget, at venturebeat.com. That's VENTURE, uh, BEAT.com. There we are, venturebeat.com. And yeah, it really goes into what Epic are trying to action they're taking against Apple. And basically, I think the feeling here is that if if Epic won, there would not only there'd be a serious impact on Apple, but it could also um, affect the way things like film and TV and everything else is distributed as well. Um, so we will see. We will see. Wouldn't it be funny if to play an Epic game you had to buy a game from Facebook and then side load it into Apple? Never mind. Never mind.
Just throw Facebook in there.
No, I just yeah, I was one track mind this week. I'm sorry, but
Yep.
it's don't blame me. Don't blame the news, folks. Anyway, that's Adventure Beat. Let's move on a little bit. Uh, Virtually identical, grounded Japanese try foreign holidays with the difference. This is my humorous one of the week, really. When I tweeted this, I described it as a bit extreme. This is at channelnewsasia.com. So CHANNEWSASIA.com. Now, I think it's pretty obvious what's happening here. There's a load of people apparently on an airplane wearing headsets, and which I mean, they've been promoting for a while. Headsets, is a good, like films on airplanes. A good way to spend time when you're on a journey. But this is the age of COVID, right? The people paying to sit in that plane aren't even taken off the ground. They're being given 3 to 60 virtual tours of cities and being provided with meals, etc., whilst they're on the ground in an airplane in Tokyo.
Mm.
And they're in the flight seats using virtual reality devices at the company's First Airlines, and it's providing them with a VR flight experience. Now, whether they can hear the shake and rattle and hum and everything else you get with an airplane flight, I don't know. But I mean, why? That's all I can say. If you have a headset and you have the software for flying or for 360 city tours, etc., all this can be done from your own home. Why go and book a seat on an aeroplane, especially an aeroplane that's not even going to take off and take you anywhere? And the supreme irony of this, of course, is they're all wearing face masks too.
Mm.
Which ev- ev- it used to be a real cliche seeing somebody in a headset, from outside, looking at them in a headset doing the funny things they do. But it's so funny every time you see those pictures now. There's a face mask there too, and you keep wondering, if the face, some of the elaborate face masks have little ventilators on them. And you kind of think, is that the smell add-on, or is that an actual COVID mask? Or how long before you can't see our faces anymore? We'll be in. We'll all look like Darth Vader, sort of. Except probably we'll have a smiley face painted on our front of Mr. Zuckerberg's face. Will be on the front of all our costumes. So it'll be a world full of Zuckerbergers. Yeah. Anyway, Karen, let's carry on. Let's carry on down here. Um, Not much to tell, really. I mean, the first photo of my summary tells you all. That's where they go to book in. And there, as you could actually, I think this one isn't a plane. I think it's a fake plane. Although maybe it's in. Oh, it is. Well, it's an airline company. So who knows? Who knows? Um, maybe it's just a way of repurposing their um, airline furniture until the plague is over. God, they've quite a big article about essentially nothing there, really. Right. So Apple, talking of Apple, this is nothing to do with the fight. Apple have got another patent for VR, not AR, but Apple have devised their own boundary system. Um, Not easy to say what all this is about, but obviously, if you're in a VR headset or glasses or whatever Apple will come up with, um, if it's augmented reality, it's no problem. But if you're in virtual reality, you are actually blind to everything except the virtual reality you're in. What Apple have patented here is a way of recognizing boundaries, right, while you're in VR and presumably sending you signals to indicate, for example, that just because there's no wall in virtual reality, it doesn't mean there isn't a wall in your room. So the sensing equipment will be able to tell you wall approaching, even though there's no wall to be seen in virtual reality. That sort of thing, that sort of thing, all to do with boundaries between you and other objects while you're in virtual reality. And I would think the biggest importance there is the boundaries between you and real world objects. Um, but anyway, that is a patent. But like everything Apple or whatever, just because they get patents and they get masses of them, it doesn't mean they're actually going to do anything with it ultimately. Though, um, well, at least they've got it if they need it, kind of thing. Right. So finally, we have. Okay, yes, this is one I kept up, isn't it? Because right, the grounded planes. What's the date on this one? Uh, these were the singers group, Karate teaming up with Amaze VR. This is at arpost.com, and I got a horrible feeling that I think the address is just arpost.com, but the reason it's still open is I wanted to go and check. And oh yeah, here we are. Right, yes, it is. Oh, it's not actually. It's ARPOST dot, and it's not com. It's co. No M on the end of that. Um, so there we are. One other here. I think I missed. Well, I missed quite a couple, but this is another one on the list. How the art world embraced the new horizon of virtuality. Again, this is more general. The use of extended reality in the art world has always been seismic. During life on lockdown, it proved sag. What the hell is that word?
I can't see it.
Okay. Sagacious. Sagacious, not saga.
Sagacious?
Could be sagacious. Sagacious.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd have to look it up. I heard it, but
Interesting. Well, I mean, this is a yeah, this is a highbrow site. They probably thought they can get away with ridiculous words.
yeah,
I thought I knew every
sagacious.
word that was. Anyway, yes, there's the Mona Lisa with a. Um, could that be an O word?
Good judgment, shrewd, keen mental discernment.
Oh, right, okay.
So
Well,
smart
I guess they
people.
know what. I guess they know what they're talking about then.
Yep.
Okay. So, okay, this is Ellie, Decoration Department of Elle magazine, I think. Um, ELLEDECORATION .co.uk. Yeah. Or get it at my Twitter feed, of course. What else would you do? Right, so we got rid of that, and we got rid of that. And that actually is it. There are plenty more links on my feed actually, but I don't do them all these days because our show was getting far too long, dealing with a lot of trivia. Although this week's thing, of course, not being trivia, I'm just going to leave that New World Notes post with Robert Scoble. That turned out to be very good. Um, Okay, let's do this in order. I'm not quite finished with the O business yet. Zuckerberg, I'm still coming for you. Right. Um, Metaworld News. Okay. Um, this is YouTube, needless to say. Um, the subscriber, the account you need here at YouTube is Somnium Space VR. You can probably see it there. Three separate words
It's kind of
at
dark.
Somnium Space.
Yeah,
Yes, it is. That actually is
there, it's
there's a
better.
little bit better. I have a plug-in down there at the bottom which darkens the screen
Mm.
until you click on it. Right. Um, this is quite long. I think it's over an hour. Yeah, but it's, you'll find the embed code on the Twitter feed for MetaWorld News. Um, this was live yesterday night, basically. VR, disco night, social VR, blockchain, metaverse, just partying away. But quite well filmed, and it does give you an idea of what it's like in there. And this platform, not so much in this film itself, but this platform is one of the major platforms that will be participating in the Burning Man installations. And as an added point, actually, I don't have a link for it, but I was reading on a Twitter feed or somewhere that Val Librarian, who runs the library, is it a
Hmm.
virtual learning community, I think. They actually went on a sort of avatar tour into something in space sometime this week. No film of it or anything I've seen, but they obviously they've taken an interest there too. I wonder if they're planning to build a virtual library in something in space. Anyway, I'm going to put that away. This was really a demonstration business. And here's one, the first one at least for James, because here in Sansar,
Hmm.
alert! Incoming broadcast from the Roddenberry headquarters.
Ah. Hmm.
Oculus
Mm.
Rift, oh
Mm.
Jimmy. Okay, if you want more movies from Sansar, the YouTube account is simply Sansar. And I forget what it was already. I've forgotten already. You'll have to go there and play the video again if you want to figure out what the Twitter account with the clues is. But yeah, great fun. And as you can probably see, James can turn the camera on himself
Yep.
and show off his chest. He can show off his chest, as I said earlier. Lovely textured t-shirt,
Yeah, it's nice.
nifty logo, and blends in well with my background. Yes, very
Yeah.
good.
Yep.
Right, okay, returning to other things. Um, Oh yeah, Hypergrid Business have a post. Bit of an odyssey, really. I think it's basically just somebody. Oh, well, that didn't help very much. It's a picture, right? Okay, basically at hypergridbusiness.com, they've got an article on a free animation overrider tuned for OpenSim. Um, it doesn't seem to be anything special except for the fact that it's maybe been optimized to be, for smooth animations and stuff in OpenSim. Austin Tate, that is blog.inf.ed.ac.uk. Sorry about that one. It's an educational blog. He actually has an article on Ringworld on a grid called Celestia. Um, oh no, actually, I
No,
don't think it's on
Celestia
the
is a
grid.
program.
Yes, I think you probably have to download this, but he was involved with it, I think, and the reason he's posted this is that Larry Niven, the author of Ringworld and many other great things, of course, is going to be with Drazda Dupre shortly. I forget which day at the book club there for an interview. Yeah, he's already been in there and set up and sort of put the put a notice out for friends wanted. Oddly enough, his website itself is very difficult to get through to him. I think his website has a team of people working on it, for him rather than him himself. But anyway, yeah. So obviously, Ostian um, sort of decided. Right. He's previously written about a wide range of educational space and spaceflight simulators created by educators, scientists, and open source user communities. One of these is Celestia and its many education community add-ons, including some fictional starships and spacecraft and science fiction. Um, so it's open source per sound of it. I presume it is free.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
can you have to download a .ssc file which gives details of the position of the object. Okay, I think you have to find out a bit more there, but there are various links here, so you can find out a bit more. And yeah, it does look like a sort of standalone game kind of thing from the interface. But I don't know. There's so many these days; it could be anything really. But it gives quite a long thing there, and it's obviously he obviously thought with Larry Niven's going to be in the highlights and stuff, then he'll promote that one too. So it's not. I don't think it is on OpenSim, but it's an open source project, so similar thing,
Yeah, it's an
similar thing.
astronomy
So
simulator. I don't think it's VR, or I don't think there are avatars. I think it's just a way to
oh
view the universe.
right, with a spaceship, right.
No, with your computer screen
Uh,
and a mouse.
right, so you get terrain, but not avatars, kind of thing. You mean,
Correct. Yep.
and you can apply to
You
it
have no
like
presence, right?
yeah. I almost went and downloaded Microsoft's Flight Simulator this week because apparently it is like apart from a few glitches, like Buckingham Palace being an apartment building, and somewhere in New Zealand, there's a pixel that apparently reaches it. It's a space elevator that isn't. Um, apparently, it was one typo that caused the glitch.
Yeah. Yep.
But the idea of I could actually get in a plane and fly over. Something as detailed as Google Earth. I thought it was great, but I was astonished how expensive it is.
Oh
The
yeah.
basic edition,
Yep.
the basic edition is well over $100.
Mhm.
Um, and there's plugins and everything else. So
And it's got a
yeah.
learning curve. You got to learn to fly. So you don't just hop
Oh
in and
shit,
go.
really?
Right. Right. Google Earth is
Oh, I
still
thought I
better.
could just get. I thought it would be like Second Life, where I can just get in the plane and fly
No.
around.
No.
Oh, oh well. Okay, so maybe I'm glad I didn't get it. Too expensive
And it's
for
big.
now.
It's a huge download.
Well, of course it's big. It's the
Right.
Earth.
It's the Earth.
It's actual real size too.
Mhm.
I mean, it's the virtual well, the maps are scaled to real size. So it's not like you're going around a mini Earth with a mini map. everything is actual size based on the photos. So it takes you as long to fly around the Earth in Microsoft Simulator as it would to get in a real aeroplane and fly around the world.
Correct.
So it's real time, real size, and that's pretty astonishing. Maybe I mean the solution would be for Google to invent an airplane, and then I could just use Google Earth with the airplane.
I think they have that.
Do
I'll see
they?
if I can
Oh.
find you a link. Yep.
Yeah, I go to Google Earth quite a bit, and you can 3D view and jump into Street View and sort of fiddle around a little bit. But there's a lot. I watched a video from the simulator, and there are a couple of things that felt like I was looking at cardboard cutouts of hedges and trees from a
Hmm.
certain angle because of the way the plane was flying. But they were very sort of detailed and well. Anyway. I mean, I think that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I was involved with a company, well, consulting with them called Mikado, or no, Mikazoo, sorry, a few years ago, and they scanned my avatar from my real world um, model, as it were, and they put me in their world. And then I had to go to New Times Square in New York, and they filmed me for French television. And ever since I saw the clips from French television and saw myself with my own face and everything else as an avatar, I've decided that that level of realism is something I probably don't feel that comfortable with.
Ah, okay.
Too much like looking in a mirror and seeing all the faults, but
Right, right.
nevertheless, coming close to that, like an airbrush version of myself, maybe. But the reason I mentioned them was that their project was using not Google Earth but open source maps, and they were modeling a virtual world based on the real planet. And it was, had New York and a couple of things in it, but it was fairly rudimentary. But um, the idea is they had the maps, and users could log in around the world and look up their own apartments and things on the map, and they could make claims on the virtual land on the map, and then they could build a recreation of, for example, their own apartment on the map. And they have very strict rules, which were sort of if it's a building, you had to contribute photographs and stuff to be able to make the building exactly appears as it appears from the sky on the map.
Mm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
no cheating. But once you're inside the building, if it was your own building, you could do whatever the hell you want with it. So you could have a completely different styled apartment as long as it was in the same building as your real apartment, kind of thing. But unfortunately, that would have been a massive project, and it sort of got a lot of publicity, but then it kind of fizzled away.
Ah,
The
okay.
Mirror Earth idea.
Hmm.
Um, but I did always see there is, of course, they're still going. Twinity is still going. Their ideas are Mirror Earth too. They've got London, Berlin, New York, a load of places, and the street corners. Everything's built to be a replica, but until you get into the apartments, and then you know, it's all slotted off into little rooms for users. Um, but I never felt comfortable with this. I mean, there was a standing joke that some of my old people, friends in the comic book world, sort of describe me as living in a comic book for the last 15 years. You can understand sort of what they mean. But Twinity to me, the thing it had in common with the comic books is every time somebody spoke in chat, there was a great big word balloon. I don't mean just a balloon. I mean, stylistically, graphically, it was the ultimate cartoon, word balloon. And I don't know, it just felt like, this is inhibiting my sense of emotion rather than the other way around.
Right, right.
Anyway, to get back to point, let's close that one. And okay, another YouTube one. This will be 6 days ago. World Explorers, episode 17, visiting a thing called Stereo Wave, which was also held here in Sansar. So the actual site you want for this is not Sansar. Oops. The account is Zero Cheese. He's a user here in Sansar. He's on Twitter and publishes these videos and things like this. Um, The World Explorers thing is normally a sort of group of avatars wandering around Southside trying to find interesting places to go, a bit like Hypergrid Safari used to do on OpenSim. Um, the video you see here is fairly rudimentary. There's quite a few people there and they're chatting. It's not easy to film this kind of thing and look professional, but yes, they're talking about ice cream there, so we're not missing anything. But anyway, they are visit. They go on to visit on that particular one. This is published 16th of August, by the way, the Stereo Wave Festival that happened here in Sunshine last week. I tried to get into it, and I couldn't. Basically, there was no region called Stereo Wave, and there was no obvious place to actually find it. Um, I only later found out the name of the region it was being held in, and it wasn't on the map or easy to. It wasn't like you logged in like the Glastonbury thing where you couldn't miss the link. Although it was quite a big event, it's a yearly event. You know, couldn't find a link to it. But anyway, the World Explorers have a copy of it. So you want Zero Cheese's account over at YouTube for that one. And August 16th. Ah, right. That's it for the little things in that news department. Now I'm now switching over. Another one for James here, really. On Thursday, I think it was on Wednesday, but it was Thursday when it was finally published, as it were. At YouTube, we have the weekly edition of the VR download. And I probably don't need to tell you that it went out as a kind of special. It had one thing and one thing only on its mind.
Mm-hmm.
um, okay. But oh, I'm 10 minutes in here. No wonder. Right. Facebook account special with SideQuest and virtual desktop devs. Now, before we came on air, James was telling me about this, and I said, "Yeah, I've got it in front of me. Got in front of me, actually."
Yep.
James, let me hand it to you to give a quick summary of this one, maybe.
Oh,
You've
oh my
watched it.
goodness.
You've watched it all the way through. I think I've only watched 15 minutes by the look of my slider here.
Well, yeah, it I think what I found most interesting. I mean, they covered a lot of the topics about the problems with the accounts, but the thing that I found most interesting watching, and this is just my perception, is that the guest developers were very hesitant to be critical of Facebook because, of course, their businesses depend on Facebook. So,
Yeah,
they did acknowledge some of the concerns, but they also recognized that I mean, for example, when I got my Oculus, I did connect it to my Facebook account because I have Facebook friends that I wanted to meet in Oculus. So for me, it was
yeah.
it was a non-issue. I already have a Facebook account. I actually have a Facebook account for my avatar, but don't tell anybody that. And so that allowed me to, it's the social component that I'd always wanted in VR. And in fact, I'm a little frustrated by Oculus
Yeah.
because I feel like there should be a Facebook Messenger inside the Oculus so that I can instant message people when I'm inside the Oculus, and they don't have that. Yeah, you can message other Oculus users, but you can't message Facebook. The only way I can interact with
Do you know
Facebook
I?
is by using a
Mm,
web browser inside the Oculus, which seems really awkward.
I bet you they're planning to. They're probably bound to change all that with this
Right, right.
piece.
And I mean, that's
You
what
probably
Horizon will
won't be
do.
anywhere other than
Right,
Facebook.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I can understand that. I just think this is a bit of overkill. But I mean, I think I mentioned this before, a few months ago now, but on before lockdown and everything. I went into PC World round the corner and I saw this device it's like my Google Assistant or my Echo, except that it plugged into a TV with HDMI thing. And it's
Mm.
called a Portal.
Oh yeah, Facebook
Well,
portal. Yep.
on closer examination, yes, it's Facebook Portal.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, unlike the Google or the Amazon gadgets, which you get skills or connections for all sorts of things, the only thing you can do, it's got a wonderful camera, but other than that, the only thing you can do with this portal is sit in front of your TV and admire yourself moving, or Make a video call to somebody you know on Facebook Messenger.
Yep.
And actually, I don't really. I mean, I have a lot of people on Facebook Messenger, but they're actually, IM accounts more than people I would normally ring
Yep.
on video.
Yep.
You can't that you can sort of get you quite easily get to Facebook itself, but they've got a thing for sharing videos with your friends and stuff like that. But I think their idea is the whole family sits in front of the screen with this thing on and connects and plays together,
Yeah.
plays against each other and stuff like that. And presumably they will use this device for the virtual environments that they're working on too. So, um, although it's not a VR device as such, and it has no real controller. You only have it's like a normal remote for pressing buttons to launch the thing you want.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, yeah, but of course, the moment I found that, I thought, well, I don't want to use Facebook Messenger. I want to be, the one I do ring people on is Skype, and I'm actually these days taking quite a few Zoom calls with groups of people. You know, that's what I want on my portal, so that I can actually sit down and on a recliner or whatever you want to call it, lie down and take the call that way informally. Um, that's what I thought it would be because I'll sit at a desk and take a normal Skype call here. It's a bit more formal. But I quite like the idea for close friends and stuff. I could just lounge around on a city and the camera follows me,
Yeah,
you
and
know.
that's
But
exactly
no, I
how
can't.
our family uses it.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
we
you can
have
only use
portals
it
and
with
we have
face.
Messenger and we we sit and have chats. It's actually quite nice.
Oh, I must do it with you sometime and see how it feels.
But
But
they
to be
do need to be
honest,
on
you can only.
Facebook. Yeah,
Yeah, you have to use Facebook Messenger, don't you?
that's correct. Yep.
I've got Facebook Messenger, so there's no problem there. And there are a couple of people on Facebook who old friends and stuff who might get a real shock if I came on camera like that. But yeah. I mean, I don't know. Facebook Messenger is a comparatively new thing. I mean, I've got a Skype contacts list that goes back, what, 20 years maybe? A long while before Microsoft even owned it, And, that is a big catalogue of people.
Yeah. Yep.
And, yeah, Facebook Messenger. A lot of people are on Facebook don't show up on Facebook Messenger. They have to have actually used Messenger once to actually appear on Messenger. Um,
Yeah, that's
so there's a
correct.
couple of
Yep.
people I know who I can't contact unless I go to the Facebook app and go to the timeline and make a comment or something. So I hate the Facebook app
Yeah. Yep.
itself.
Yep.
Messenger's not bad on my desktop, but all the people that are on Facebook, different kinds of people, whatever. The last thing I want is to sort of suddenly open the video portal on my TV that can see me lying around all slovenly
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
exactly. Exactly. You're
I
right.
want the control. The reason I want Zoom and Skype on the desktop is and Facebook Messenger on the desktop here is I want the control to be able to answer things on my desktop and look at least moderately presentable,
Yep.
to take a call or whatever.
Well, let me
If
ask
I'm
you
going to
this:
use,
do you put a
yeah,
piece of tape over the camera on your portal?
no, it's got a lid.
It's
It's got
got a
a,
lid, right? Right.
well, no, it's got a slider thing that hides the camera,
Yep.
which does the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. It's true that with that over it, nobody can actually accidentally turn on my camera and see me naked or something. But I mean, it's yeah, it doesn't need tape over it. Put it that
Or
way.
does it? Or does it? Does the lid work?
Oh, who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe it's a
right, right.
special plastic, and maybe it's a special
A
one-way
see-through
plastic. So
plastic, right?
Facebook can see me, but they don't know that I can't see them.
Right, right.
Maybe it's a one-way screen with a Zuckerberg on the other side.
Yep,
Who
yep.
knows? Yeah.
Let's fuel the conspiracy.
Uh, anyway, so this is a recommended watch, I guess that you will tell us. So I'm still showing
Oh yeah,
silently, of
I
course,
like the
the
show. Yep.
yeah,
And it was
the
nice for
show.
them to pick
So
up the topic and jump right into it.
Yeah, very
Yep.
quick on the apps here.
Yep. Yep.
Right, so this was yeah, as it says, this was published on nine. Oh no, it was streamed live on 19th of August. So the replay's been there since the 20th. Um, the site you want there for this is Upload VR, all one word, but the VR is in capitals. Well, as is the U. Um, you can see that there, I'm quite sure.
Yep.
And you just subscribe. If they're live, you can join them, but if normally you just would subscribe to get that. Right, okay, well, let's put that one away. And something else. Okay, I'm in my Slack account here, which is where I keep everything. I have a nice little channel in my Slack server called Of Interest. um, also, YouTube yesterday. This, I believe, is Charlie Fink again. Yeah, the chap who writes for tech at Forbes. This is Charlie Fink and guest hosts. And oh, I've got the audio off, haven't I? So that's Charlie Fink. The guy who does it with him is futurist Ted Schilowitz. And then their guest here is Amy Peck, who is all over the place, to be honest. She's also CEO and founder of Endeavor VR. Endeavor VR. Amy Peck. As you can see, it's just a recording of a Zoom call, but it's interesting enough, and it's only 22 minutes. So, if you want to find this one, you go to this, not the, but this week in XR podcast. Okay, highlight it there. Don't know whether it's any better, but
Yep.
you can see it there. Okay, that's great. Right. So again, all the interesting stuff there, including everybody somewhere or other was talking about Facebook this week. Right. Saturday last week, that was virtually speaking. Oh, Saturday. Ah, okay. Sorry, I have one here which I thought was this week, but it was actually last Saturday. So we Games for Change. We actually showed that on last week's show. I'm quite sure. So I think I've rounded off to the end here. I've still got this New World Notes open because there's
Yeah.
just so much here. I mean, if you've ever heard, like a few weeks ago, there was a Scar Ghost interview with Robert Scoble, covering a wide breadth of stuff, So if anybody's equipped to talk about the effects of Facebook identities on VR. Yeah, the thing that's weird is it describes it as the biggest strategy chats of all time, which I guess it might be, but that somehow, I don't know, that headline itself kind of seems to me to lessen the impact of what the story is. It's not just a big strategy chats, it's a war on common people. It's a And it's interesting. They've shown that photograph that I think is probably the most iconic one.
It's
It's
your
several years
favorite,
old.
definitely.
It's several years old now, but here's hundreds of people all wearing headsets in a real world conference, and they're about to be addressed by the Zuckerberg, and he's just walking up there. He hasn't got a headset on. No, not him. He's going to be, he's just going to be talking to them on stage, and presumably they view him through their Oculus, whereas they probably see the same thing. Maybe not so close up if they took their Oculus off. So it's a bit like he reminds me of Donald Trump, but he's a little twerp. He's standing up there in his own world talking. And the people are just lapping it up. Some people are lapping it up. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know at all. So I'll leave that open. I think we have now reached the end of the road, so to speak.
Ah, okay.
Um, Yeah, pretty pictures, but I don't think there was anything else of import there. No, no. So we're all done there. So, yeah. Have I got anything else to show us as we sign off? Not really. I think I have to rely on James to actually bring the camera back to our avatars for a
That's
couple of
right.
seconds. I think nothing else to show today on the extra screen. So, Any other thoughts, James? I mean, yeah, I brought you in for a couple of things there, but
Yep.
on the news in general, any other things that got you
No,
wound up or
no.
anything?
Just it's interesting watching this conflict between the Facebook logins because in a way it's the extension of the privacy conflict, and you know all the aspects of the future that we like so much, assistants telling us what we want to know and telling us all this information.
Yeah.
Well, that comes at the cost of privacy. The information systems have to know who you are and where you are to give you the information you want. So there's that compromise, that trade-off.
I've had it's been a while, but I mean,
Hmm.
I've always made a distinction. You know, I've always said that the word privacy probably won't be in the dictionary in another 20 years.
Hmm.
Well, it might still be in the dictionary as an archaic reference, but to me, there's a great difference between privacy, which I don't mind giving up, and confidentiality. Now, to me, the difference is simply that you can assume that you have very little privacy, as we've used to call it, or maybe still do, less and less so in the future. But you always have to have that right to what we would call confidentiality, and they're very different things.
Hmm.
Privacy is like an identifier in terms of public thing. You know, somebody sends a drone up to hover outside your bedroom and watch you doing whatever you do in your bedroom, for example. That is an invasion of privacy. Yeah? But if you draw the curtains so the drone can't see you, and the thing surreptitiously, or whoever's spying on you uses um, subversive methods to get around precautions you've taken, that actually is a breach of confidentiality because or if you have entrusted an individual with something, um, and that has to remain in confidence. For example, there've been stories on, of ex, ex members of couples on Facebook sort of stalking the other or posting naked pictures of their 10 years ago ex.
Hmm.
Well, that to me would be covered by breaching confidentiality, and that would be wrong. But the fact those photos exist is probably falls more under privacy, but it wouldn't. But that doesn't mean they can just be used willy nilly. If you see what I mean,
Yeah, sure.
it's a delicate area. I'm not really sure. I've got, I'm going with the privacy is dead, confidentiality stays is my theory. But I mean, it's far from worked out because, like many things, there's a big grey area in where they overlap.
Yep. Yep. Something our society needs to negotiate.
Yeah, it's like with virtuality and social networks and everything, where we've invented the motor car, and we we're building quite good engines to put in them, you know,
Hmm.
and now we're refining fuel to put in them, and we're not thinking about the damage that fuel is going to do to the environment. And we don't know that in 100+ years there's going to be a whole generation of people complaining
Right. Yep.
about those motor cars we invented 100 years, when we invented them 100 years ago. Um, it's not that simple because we've got airline fuels and a whole load of other things, and it's not like we suddenly turned around and said, "God damn those people 100 years ago, we're going to give up all that stuff because we had no intention of doing it."
Yeah,
But
right. Right.
but in theory, you get the theory. Really, basically, there's no forward looking there. It's something we're up against every day here in the UK at the moment, and I'm sure more in the States as well,
Hmm.
is we're turning around to the government and saying, look, you're doing your best to get us out of this mess, but there was no forward thinking. There was no planning. You were sitting on your asses when you should have been taking care of the stockpiles here and the infrastructure there. And, now we've got this dilemma. You just weren't, nobody would have been prepared for it, but they could have been more prepared than they are,
Right.
especially scientifically, the likelihood of it happening has been high for years. So anyway, we are rabbit holding on, and I've finished the news, so I
Yeah,
shouldn't be doing
right,
that,
right.
really, should I? Okay, well, folks, remember next weekend, if you are on the hypergrid anywhere in OpenSim, the OpenSim Festival will be happening. I'm sure if you click around everywhere, hypergrid business or something like that, you'll be able to find the actual login region. I think they're actually called, I think the grid is actually called OpenSim Fest, but I can't swear to it. Um, so, sort of entertainment, speeches, talks, exhibitors, and partying, no doubt, will be happening there. And we will be back with you here in Southside, of course, same time next week. It is, of course, a bank holiday weekend next week. Well, it is in the UK. Is it a holiday weekend over there?
I think there is. I think Labor Day is coming up in the United
Yeah, I think
States.
I think that'd be next Monday. That would tie in with. I seem to remember Tara always used to say it was a bank holiday Monday here, and it's oh yes, Labor Day there, or maybe a week. I don't know. Anyway, that counts as a holiday weekend. I know, for example, the jazz radio station has got their Soul Weekender playing and things, and
Yeah,
then
yep.
Notting Hill Carnival will not be happening, or at least not legally. um, but it is a bank holiday, so I've no doubt there will be various things happening around and about. Many of them, maybe not in virtual spaces, but what they call virtual these days means online somehow.
Hmm.
The only place you can go is online. So make it a good destination for them, is what I say. Um, so, with that, I think we'll say goodbye. I will say goodbye on behalf of this chap here.
And I will say goodbye on behalf of that chap there.
Very good. So the two of us are saying goodbye. We will return at the same time, same place next week with a whole bunch of other news and gossip for you. Um, Meanwhile, take it easy. Stay safe. Don't go out unless you have to. Even now, it ain't over till
Hmm.
it's over. It ain't over until the fat guy flops.
Mm, that'll work.
Yeah, I'll just assume that you know who I mean by the fat guy. Right, yeah, well, it could be two actually, but never mind. Yeah, so we'll be about same time, same place next week with a whole lot more from you. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.